Fresno State is one of just 21 teams in the country with at least 5 wins this season. The Bulldogs have won 5 straight games, which is tied for the 8th longest active win streak in the country. Hi everybody, I'm Jesse Kurtz here in the Mountain West Network studio to get some insight on what's fueling the Dogs' success. We head out to Fresno, California and bring in senior defensive back and team captain Camryn Bracha. Cam, appreciate you making time for us here on the Mountain West Network.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited that you're here. Fresh off that big win over Nevada, your team now has won 5 in a row, the longest win streak for the program since the 2022-2023 seasons. What are some of the reasons for your success so far?
Yeah, I think about that 22-23 year. We had a lot of good moving pieces with that staff, and I think that's kind of came into this year. We've got a really old team this year, a lot of experience. In a lot of different rooms, and I think we've been able to take advantage of that. Even though we came down with an early loss, I think we trusted in what we built over the offseason, and we're starting to believe that, and I still believe our best football is in front of us, so I think that's really exciting going into these last few months. But yeah, I think just believing in what we've built all year and having a new staff and Coach Henson, believing in him and playing for him has been substantial in our growth these last few weeks, and we're excited for that just to snowball into these later months.
Yeah, you mentioned that new leadership, great leadership on the sidelines at 5-1. Your head coach, Matt Entz, who is in his first season leading this program, is tied for the second best start to a career by a Bulldog head coach. One more win, and he tied the program record set all the way back in 1952. How is he getting the most out of this team right now?
Yeah, I think just his passion he shows up with every day is just infectious to the people around him. He hired a great staff. I've loved working with Coach Benedetto, our DC, and he works on hands-on with us safeties. And so being able to work with him and see his influence on the players and that just coming down, top down from Coach Entz is huge. And I think, this program runs a special way, and keeping a few Bulldogs in-house with Coach Baxter, who's coached here for a while, and Coach JD, who's one of the Bulldog greats, I think is just a corner piece to the success that we've all had.
You yourself, you're in your 3rd season at Fresno State. You've been a starter in all 3 seasons. You really personify what it means to be Bulldog-born, Bulldog-bred. You're a Clovis native. Your mom was a cheerleader at Fresno State. What does it mean to you and your family to be putting on that Bulldog uniform and representing Fresno State like this?
Yeah, it's just a blessing. Like you said, my parents both graduated from here, so we grew up coming to these games, and I never really thought I'd be in this position to be able to just wear that helmet and represent just my family and all my friends and all the leaders who have really got me to this point. I think I've had just it's been a huge blessing on who's been around me and how they've got me to this point. It takes a village for sure, but it's just been such a blessing, and this has been a short 3 years. It goes fast, and me and my family and my parents, we've just tried to hold on to all the memories we can because we've got about 6 games or so left. And after that, it's all going to be a memory. So I just hope, that we get to hold on to the time we got right now because we're going to be talking about these years for a lot of time to come.
Somewhere there's a young fan in the stands in Fresno watching you. With that same sort of dream that you had. I'm curious, when you were in the stands, what are some of the memories that you have and the games that you will forever remember as a kid watching the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I think you think about the field and, you'll remember the big plays and the crowd eruptions. But I think the most important things I'm going to remember is just, playing catch with my siblings in tailgates or celebrating those big plays with my parents, just the people you're around. I think the people you're with are so much more substantial with where you're at. And so to be able to just be a kid growing up in that stadium, seeing the Bulldogs play, but also getting to experience that with my parents, and now they're in the stands watching me, has just, fills your heart with so much gratitude. And, I hope those kids out there are just enjoying those memories with their parents and their families. And my story, a kid who was under-recruited, kind of counted out I had to go a different path. I hope that encourages them, but I just hope they're having fun along the way too, because this is a pretty cool ride.
Well, your story and your ride at Fresno State is certainly one to admire. The last 2 seasons, you've had some injuries, had a season-ending injury last year after just 4 games, but you're enjoying a great season right now. 4th on the team in tackles, tied for 1st in interceptions. How good does it feel to be making this level of impact?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot last year going down with that injury. You realize how fast things can change, but I think I learned a lot from a football stance and just, who I was and how I was going to handle adversity. And I think that was substantial in laying out this year in my perspective of leadership on who I had to be for my teammates, and how they saw me responding to adversity. But now to be able to be out there and represent just my teammates has been awesome, and the work we've put in. And like I said, I think we're nowhere near where we want to be. And I think that's the really exciting part is we can continue to get better. But it's been awesome to go out there and lead with a new group of guys. We've had a lot of changes, but we've built some bonds pretty fast. And, I just think that's a testament to Coach Ensign, the guys he's brought in that locker room.
Well, it's testament to you and the leaders inside that locker room for sure. 2 weeks ago, that leadership was on full display as you were named a semifinalist for the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is casually known in college football as the academic Heisman. You have to be a great football player, terrific student, and involved in the community. How big of an honor is it for you to be included in this elite group of student athletes and leaders across the country?
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I was really excited, just like I said, to be able to be our candidate for the team and represent the team in such an high honor. And Coach Entz has made a huge emphasis on how you do everything's how you do anything. And I take that sense of urgency to class, take that home in my home life or whatever it is. If I'm letting slack in the classroom or at home with my daily habits, things are going to go the same way in the locker room. And I think that just speaks so huge. And, I hope that's what I can encourage the other men in our locker room. But I think it's also just substantial that, I honor the leaders in my life who have helped me get to this point. My parents were always huge on emphasizing school. I've had great mentors around me who have always pushed me to be the best of my ability. And I've had great church leaders in my community who have also, done a great job putting me in positions to grow in those circumstances. And, my goal when I walked on here at Fresno State was to graduate. And just because I'm having a great year doesn't mean that should change at all, and I still take that same motivation forward that, that's the reason I'm here.
You lead by example, and that was something that we saw in July where you etched your name into Fresno State lore with a statement feat, setting the program record for the Own Your House annual stadium run, which involves hitting every stadium stair inside of Valley Children's Stadium. Take me back to that day. How grueling was that, and how good did it feel to finish faster than any Bulldog had ever done before?
Yeah, that's definitely a pretty cool thing to have. Since the day I got here, and I heard Coach Ward emphasizing just that day and kind of what it means and the history of our program. I always thought it'd be pretty cool to have my name just in the list, not on top of it, not really thinking about that. But I think it's really cool, like I said, to represent the guys on the team. And I think that attitude of me wanting to go do that came from the attitude we built and the determination we built on some of these summer workouts and winter conditioning and lawn practices. And, I've played here for 3 years now, and I also wanted to represent those guys as well. And they know I went fourth the year prior and came up a little short. I was like 3rd or 4th. So this was one that, I was definitely going to give it a shot and kind of had promised to a few people that, I was going to get it. And so it was pretty cool. I got some moments just to reflect and kind of write in a journal kind of, how much work I've put into this and, why not go do it? I don't think I'd have any regret in trying. And luckily, I got it done. And I'm just thankful that, I got to do that.
Words to live by, for sure. Bowl eligibility can be accomplished this Friday for your team, which will mark the 5th straight year of reaching that benchmark at Fresno State. That would be the longest bowl eligibility streak for the Bulldogs since the early 2000s. You travel to Fort Collins, Colorado for a date with the Rams. What are some of the keys that you all have identified as must-dos against Colorado State to pick up a victory and earn bowl eligibility on Friday?
Yeah, I think it's cool that we get to earn that this week. I think we've got a lot of bigger dreams than just being bowl eligible, and we're excited that this kind of gets to be the next step. But Colorado State, this is a really cool environment we get to step in. I think they've got one of the best stadiums and environments that we have here in the conference. I really respect their head coach and kind of how they do things over there. They've had great athletes on the perimeter last year and the year prior. They're going to play us tough. They've got a great run game that they've developed, and they leaned on that heavy last year, and that was a big testament to their success. And so we know they're going to play us tough. We know how things went last year when we played them. And so we know they're coming with an edge this week. And, they haven't put their best football on the field just like us. We're both still peaking. And so I'm excited to see, what brand, the best product of football we put on the field and the product they put on. And, we're just excited to go into that environment.
Well, we're looking forward to the matchup. Fun fact, this is Fresno State's first ever trip to Canvas Stadium. Have not been to Fort Collins since they built the new on-campus stadium, so it should be a fun trip for all of you guys. Cam, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking a moment in your time here for the Mountain West Network. Safe travels to Fort Collins, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Go Dogs.
That's Camryn Bracha, the senior defensive back and captain for the Fresno State Bulldogs, who, by the way, you can watch he and the Dogs on Friday night at Colorado State on CBS Sports Network. Kickoff from Canvas Stadium is set for 7 p.m. Mountain Time. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Jesse Kurtz.